What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Realistic Career Mode. It's episode number 36. And we start today's episode off with the second leg of the Europa League quarterfinal. Obviously in the first leg last week we were beaten by Atalanta in Italy. Obviously I said there was an extra edge when this tie was drawn after we turned down the Atalanta job in Season 1. I found it such a difficult game in the first leg, and as you guys know, I mention it all the time, in European ties, when you're playing away from home, particularly in the first leg, you really should go all out in pursuit of those away goals. Even if you draw the game, even if you lose by a goal or two, having those away goals can at times be just so crucial. So it means in the second leg, if you fail to score away from home, then one goal for your opponents puts you at a major disadvantage. 14 minutes in, that was the case. Atalanta came to Turf Moor and got the early goal, which meant they led by 3 goals in the tie, 1 on the night, and of course, due to the away goal ruling, we'd need to score 4. So at this point I was thinking, it's over. The dream of possibly winning in our first ever European competition, going all the way, collecting the silverware and qualifying with the Champions League as well, had turned into a nightmare courtesy of the Italians. I wasn't going to give up though. You know, I mentioned before, based on how topsy-turvy games are in this year's FIFA, based on how many goals you get goals can get scored, particularly in late game situations as well, wasn't going to give up. We scored 2 goals in 7 minutes right towards the first half end as we totally flipped the switch. First Callum Wilson getting a goal, and then Josh De Silva making it 2-1 right before the break. So saying, okay, alright, we've changed momentum completely. It's in our favour now. We were 3-0 down over the 2 legs. Now it's 3-2. We still need 2 in the second half, but that's more than doable. Unfortunately, in the second half, I don't know what happened, but I just could not break Atalanta down whatsoever. In the first half, a couple of golden chances, took them both. In the second half, restricted to long-range efforts and crosses into the middle from open play. Simply put, it wasn't working, and with 14 minutes to go, João Pedro, look at this celebration, by the way. I need to know how to do this. So cool. Brushes the dust off his shoulders there as he makes it 2-2 on the night. 4-2 over 2 legs, and that would do it. Wasn't going to come back from that. Atalanta draw on the night, but go through on aggregate, and our Europa League dreams have turned into a nightmare. Pretty gutted about it because, to be honest here, I thought, you know, the teams quite evenly matched on paper. If you looked at the lineups of both of the games, I'd say based on how our team has progressed, I wouldn't necessarily say we were slight favourites. I would have said it was very even indeed. But I guess our first season in Europe and putting ourselves in that hole in the first leg, not scoring in Italy and conceding 2 as well, was just too big of a deficit to work our way out from. So yeah, Europa League dream dies. To be honest, I was targeting semi-finals in our first season Europa League, quarterfinals or possibly semi-finals. So I'm not too disappointed. And when you think about it, in the Premier League right now, we still have that very slim chance of qualifying with the Champions League, but we have a great chance of cementing Europa League position, and we're in the FA Cup semi-final as well. Look, you know, I've mentioned this before, if you want to be competitive in all the competitions you're playing in, you need a really thick squad that's got a lot of quality. When you think about all the injuries we've had to deal with this season, the fatigue, the tiredness, yeah, you know, to be honest, I think we've done okay in our first season in Europe, even though our progress does end a round shorter than I would have liked, and 2 rounds shorter than the board wanted. So for our following game, on the back of 3 straight games without a victory and 2 losses in our last 3-0 competitions, Fulham away, Craven Cottage, didn't see Parakambi in the lineup, and maybe that's why Fulham were really lacking creativity. We were at the moment just absolutely cruising. Got our first goal early, then Aaron Connolly got a goal to make it 2-0. He obviously started the season off on red hot form since Dennis fallen away, but he still just chipping with a goal every now and then right before the break, contender for goal of the season, Josh De Silva bursting through and smacking it in off the post to make it 3-0. Fulham would get themselves a consolation goal 90 minutes after the restart through Yaremchuk, but that's all it proved to be as we held on to our first win in 4. 3-1 the final score in Craven Cottage there, and I would say now, as we still have the chance, at a very mathematically unlikely chance finishing the top 4, I would say if nothing else, Europa League football is looking all but guaranteed. And for our third game of today's episode here, Chelsea coming to take us on here at Turf Moor. Feeling very pessimistic heading into this game. We have struggled against the big teams quite a lot since the save began, obviously, as you would expect. 9 minutes in, they would take lead through the American Christian Pulisic. Such a shame as well. Nick Pope made an incredible one-on-one save, but I failed to get the ball clear with Jack Stacey, and the Blues took advantage of my poor lack of awareness as they got themselves in front very early on. Tried to respond directly afterwards. Charlie Taylor sliding Dwight McNeil down left-hand side. I mentioned before, McNeil this season, he's had a couple of serious injuries, and you know, he's lost his place to Mbeumo. I'll be totally honest, since he has come back, Brian Mbeumo has been a much more reliable source of goals or assists or creativity. I'm starting to regret not cashing in on Dwight McNeil over the past 2 years. We had those big bids from, you know, European sides like Roma, and I think it was Sevilla put in a bid for him as well for like 30 mil. I'm not going to lie, I kind of regret not accepting those deals there. Obviously, the main reason I turned them down was realism, but I think, to be honest, McNeil this season has struggled quite a bit. I think the money would have been more beneficial. Hopefully next season, if he keeps himself fit, he'll have a much better campaign and get back in my regular first team. But and it was a really good game for the goalkeepers. Really, really good game. Nick Pope was making some fine saves and keeping us only down by a goal. But after the hour mark, Timo Werner made it 2 as the German doubled Chelsea's lead. And I've mentioned this before, Timo Werner does not struggle against me in FIFA, that's for sure. Never mind his problems in front of goal in real life. He doesn't have them against me in FIFA CM. He seems to always score against me in this year's FIFA and late on into the game. 7 minutes to go. Ruben Loftus-Cheek makes it 3 for the Blues as they complete the route at Turf Moor. So yeah, 3-0 the final score. So that would mean 4 games in our last 5 have been without wins. 3 defeats in our last 5 games as well. You know, this is the biggest part of the season for us. Massive games in all 3 competitions. And I mentioned it in the last episode, pressure makes diamonds or burst pipes. I thought we were going to be mining after our big wins against Wolves and West Ham. Unfortunately, yeah, we've got a leak, and a big one as well. We are struggling big time right now. So yeah, another defeat there to Chelsea. And terrible motivation heading into the FA Cup semi-final against Manchester City at Wembley. We are the holders, but we are the underdogs heading into the game. But I thought, you know what, we've been brave every single game in this competition since the series began. We won it last year. We got to the final in Season 1. I want 3 straight FA Cup finals, so never mind being the underdogs, never mind being in bad form. Let's go at them and let's get ourselves the goals to win the game. I was in attack mode right from the very first whistle, and I'll be honest here, in the first hour it was all Burnley. Tyrese Campbell missed a sitter, and Mbeumo hit the bar. Aaron Connolly was denied by an amazing one-on-one save by Ederson. How rare do I miss one-on-ones nowadays and put them straight to the goalkeeper? Ederson with the save, keeps it at 0-0, and with 7 minutes to go, as Jayden Bogue was beaten by Lorenzo Insigne. Oh, sometimes you just have to think, did EA just simply not want me to win this game? Riyad Mahrez at the back stick, volleys in the Insigne cross, runs to Pep to celebrate. And for all the praise I give him, as much as I love him, Nick Pope's got to save that one. It's straight at him. It's not the most powerful of efforts, but he can only divert the ball onto the post and into the back of the net. And I really feel as though our number 1, who I can't be too critical of because we know he's won us games single-handedly on many occasions, but that should have been a save, and this should have been a goal. Can you believe it? Deep into stoppage time, final kick of the game. Callum, clutch, Wilson gets away for a clear strike at goal and blazes it over the bar for a 3-point conversion. And I just remember thinking, like, how was my finishing this bad in this game? I mean, honestly, I created so many chances, but my finishing was like Thomas Muller versus England on Tuesday night. I literally cannot understand how I missed so many chances there. And it's one of those moments where I kept on thinking, like, seriously, was the power just like way too high? Was the accuracy just way too poor? I didn't think it was, but clearly you got to take the blame and the responsibility. I had multiple chances to win that game, not just send it to extra time, and I blew every single one of them. You know, I always say I present the highlights package incredibly fairly and never biased. And that game there, I will be honest, Riyad Mahrez' shot on target was the only one Manchester City had in the entire game. We had about 4 of them, and I missed every single clear-cut chance. Only one man to blame for that defeat, and that was me. Yes, Nick Pope should have saved that shot from Mahrez. No one's going to deny that, but with all the chances I had, it should have been, and it was irrelevant. Even though he should have saved it, with all the opportunities I had, that error from Pope is irrelevant. I should have scored far more goals than 0, that's for sure, and because of that, we're out in the FA Cup semi-final. Absolutely gutted about it as well. You know, I wanted 3 straight FA Cup finals. That would be an amazing achievement for a side like Burnley. Yes, we're a growing side, but that would have been an amazing achievement, but wasn't to be. And again, only got myself to blame. But regardless, 3 straight trips to the semi-finals, if nothing else, is very impressive indeed. Still, for our final game of today's episode here, final game of what has been a tough April. Really tough April. 4 defeats in our last 6 games. Out of the Europa League. out of the FA Cup, and with no chance now of qualifying for the Champions League. I'd definitely say the pressure got to us, no doubt about it. We're a young team, we're relatively inexperienced, it's not a surprise. But for our final game of April, there was to be a saving grace, because after Aaron Connolly scored a brace, we would beat the Canaries by 2-0, return to winning ways at Turf Moor, and the significance of this victory here didn't just end our poor run of form, but you see by the wild celebration confirms that if nothing else, we've now guaranteed a Europa League spot. There's 3 games to go, as you can see, 15 points off the Red Devils. We can't catch them now, but we are also 13 points clear of Leicester, and due to the games remaining, we can't be caught by the Foxes. The lowest we can finish, I believe, is 7th, but even that is incredibly unlikely. 6th is practically guaranteed, and due to the FA Cup final opponents, we know now Europa League football is guaranteed. Bit of a sour note to end the season on. We know we wanted more, but listen, it's only season 3. There's a long way to go. But that was this episode of The Realistic CM, guys. We thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, if you hadn't, please drop a like. Much love to you all for this day, and I'll see you for the next episode of The Realistic CM, the season finale, very soon.